Storm Team.
Welcome back to KX News at 10. I'm meteorologist Michael Gonzalez. Not to scare you too much, these are temperatures from earlier this morning. This is not right now, this is not a forecast, but just to show you just how cold we were this morning. Look at that, 0 degrees out at Crosby, and it's not on the map here, but Tioga got below 0. They were our first location in our viewing area this year that's gotten below 0, and across much of the rest of the region, we were dealing with those temperatures generally in the single digits north of I-94. And in fact, taking a look at our top 10 coldest morning lows, you can see Tioga right there, 4 below 0. That was actually the coldest location in the lower 48 this morning, and we had a couple other locations there. Crosby at 0, Bowbells there at 0, and a whole handful of other locations with temperatures with degrees that you could count on your fingers. I'm not sure how you could count -4, but the rest of these you could count with your fingers. So 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 5 degrees, 6 degrees. It was a cold morning for sure. We're not going to be quite getting into that range, at least at most locations. Garrison is really going to give those others a run for their money, already at 7, but across much of the rest of the region, we're only in the mid-teens this evening, and for a lot of the region, we are going to be hanging on to those mid-teens through much of the overnight hours. Perhaps some areas out towards the southeastern counties will be dipping down there into the single digits here in the next few hours. But over towards the west, notice we're still in those mid to upper 20s with some southeasterly winds on the other side of a high pressure. In fact, you can notice it on these wind barbs, the way that there's a clockwise flow across our area. We have southerly winds over here on the western counties, and over on the eastern counties where it's going to be colder, they're northerly winds. So it is going to be much cooler over in our southeastern counties compared to out west. So just an interesting thing to note right now looking at that temperature map. On the satellite, there's not much to look at, generally clear skies, and that's going to allow partly some of those temperatures to cool off as much as they will across the eastern area. A few high clouds drifting in from the north over towards those western counties, over towards the Montana border. As we zoom out to the east, we can see the storm that brought us all the snow just a couple of days ago is continuing to produce snow over the lower Midwest region. Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, they've been receiving a good amount of snowfall the last 24 hours roughly. So that was what was over our area just a couple days ago. But of course, we are well away from that at this point with the high pressure system just about settled in right over the Dakotas right now. And that's why those temperatures are going to be so cold, but also why the winds are so calm right now. We had calm winds there at Bismarck just a few minutes ago. On the eastern side of this high, we're getting those northerly winds, as I had mentioned, but then on the back side of it, some of those southerly winds. And this high pressure system is going to continue to drift off to the southeast. And because we're on the west side of it, we are going to continue to get those southerly winds into tomorrow, and that will allow things to begin to warm up. And also it'll help as this ridge over the western United States, which has been producing very warm conditions, abnormally warm conditions over the southwestern U.S., that's slowly going to begin to dip just a little bit east into the central U.S., and that should allow temperatures also to come on up generally into the upper 40s to lower 50s for highs as we get closer to the middle of the week. Tonight, of course, as I mentioned, we'll be dealing with some teens once again across much of central North Dakota with some 20s over towards the Montana border, a little on the warmer side. And the good thing is we'll say goodbye to these teens over the next couple of nights as temperatures begin to warm up. That high pressure slides on out of here. We have a clipper system that'll drift off well to the north in Canada, but to the south of it, we're going to be getting those southerly winds, some breezy southerly winds, in fact, perhaps gusting 25 to 35 miles per hour, also allowing temperatures to warm on up, especially over towards western North Dakota, where we could have highs up there in the mid to perhaps upper 50s with some clouds beginning to drift in by the time we get to Monday night. It will be a little bit of an overcast Monday night as a weak cool front rolls through, but the good thing is these winds will also help keep the atmosphere stirred up and make those lows generally around 30 degrees, so much warmer lows compared to what we've been dealing with recently. And then by Tuesday, a similar story with highs broadly in the lower 50s with even some upper 40s across the far north. And as we look ahead, we are going to see that ridge begin to push its way over towards the central United States. Taking a look at Williston's next 5 days, we're going to see those highs bounce right around the 50-degree mark from day to day with lows broadly around the freezing mark. So no more teens to deal with, or certainly no more single digits as we look ahead to this coming week. In Dickinson, very similar. Highs generally between 52 to 55 degrees with mostly cloudy skies there by Friday ahead of a potential another system coming in. And Minot, similar situation with seasonable highs, even a couple degrees above average before another cool down looks to come our way by the time we get to the weekend. And Bismarck, just about the same. We might have another system coming our way by about this time next week. Tyler?
Michael, like we said, thunder snow. I mean, that's bizarre. In your package you're talking about there.
I'm hoping to see some of that this winter, I will say.
Craziness. I know. I love it. Well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Coming up next in sports.